Have you ever been in a situation, maybe ordering food in English, where you know exactly what you want, but the words just don't quite come out right? You're not alone. Well, guess what? There's a really simple fix for that, and we're going to break it down right now. So picture it. You're at a cafe or a bakery. You want to buy some bread. Does your brain immediately jump to, can I have two breads? I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? But it's one of those little mistakes that just gives away that you're still learning. It sounds just a little off to a native speaker. So what's actually wrong here? But don't you worry, there is an incredibly simple trick to this. And once you see it, you'll know exactly how to order food and talk about it naturally, every single time. It's a real game changer.
Okay, so here's the deal. The whole issue boils down to something we call uncountable foods. In English, we treat a lot of foods like bread, milk, cheese, even rice as sort of a big general substance, not as individual things you can count. That's exactly why saying 2 milks or 3 rices sounds so weird. So if you can't count them, how in the world are you supposed to order them?
Well, let me introduce you to your new secret grammar tool, the quantifier. It's really just a word or a simple phrase that we pop in front of the food to talk about the amount. This is how we count the uncountable. It's that easy.
And the best part? There's a super simple formula you can use every time. Seriously, you just pick a quantifier, you add the word of, and then you say the name of the food. That's it. Quantifier of food. Let's see this formula in action.
All right, let's open up our first toolkit. This one is all about containers, and it's probably the easiest way to get started. Basically, you let the package that the food comes in do all the counting for you. Just think about walking through a grocery store. You don't just buy milk, right? No, you buy a carton of milk. You're not looking for juice. You're looking for a bottle of juice. Same thing goes for a can of soda, or when you go to a cafe and order a cup of coffee. See, the container is doing all the work.
And this works just as perfectly for solid foods. You grab a box of cereal, you get a bag of chips for a movie night, you open a jar of jam for your toast, or maybe you treat yourself to a whole tub of ice cream. Super simple, right?
Okay, so using containers is pretty straightforward. But what happens when the food isn't in a neat little package? Well, that's where our second toolkit comes in. For this, we're going to use quantifiers that describe a shape or a portion of the food.
Now, this is where you'll start to notice that some foods almost always go with a very specific quantifier. You never just ask for pizza, you ask for a slice of pizza. And look at that. There's the answer to our first problem. You buy a loaf of bread. It's the same idea with a piece of cake or a block of cheese.
Let's just look at this transformation. I ate a bread becomes I ate a slice of bread. She wants a cheese becomes she wants a piece of cheese. Just listen to that. Can you hear the difference? It sounds so much more natural, so much more fluent. Okay, theory is great, but let's get practical. It's time to take everything we've learned and use it in a real-world situation. So let's pretend we're making a shopping list.
Now, if you're just scribbling a quick note for yourself, this list is totally fine. But this isn't how you would say it. You wouldn't call your roommate and say, "Hey, can you buy milk, juice, and bread?" It just doesn't sound right.
So let's upgrade this to what we could call the fluent speaker shopping list. Instead, you'd say, I need to buy a carton of milk, a bottle of juice, a loaf of bread, and a box of cereal. Ah, there it is. That's the practical, everyday use of everything we just talked about, and it makes all the difference in the world. So, what's the big takeaway here? This really isn't about memorizing some boring grammar rule. It's about a small change that makes your English sound so much more precise, more clear, and just more natural. It's one of those little keys that unlocks a huge part of sounding fluent in everyday conversation. So now that you've got this down for food, it kind of opens up a whole new interesting world. I mean, a slice of pizza, that's easy now. But did you have any idea that a group of geese is actually called a gaggle of geese? How cool is that? English is absolutely full of these fun, specific, and sometimes really strange quantifiers. So maybe your next challenge is to see how many more you can find.